Welcome to another video clip from the Cool Classroom. This is a video clip that I'm really excited to share with you. I think this is a fantastic package. It's going to save you a lot of time when it comes to your marking. So what we're looking at here is a set of 3 Excel markbooks. We have the AllPurpose Notebook, the Assistive Maths Markbook, and the General Markbook here. We're going to start with the Assistive Maths Markbook and then we'll explain the other 2. So I've got the Assistive Maths Markbook here, and really there's 3 parts to it. There's the setup, the summary page, which you can see your whole class in, and then your individual student pages here. Now there are 30 set up here, and obviously for a lot of you, you don't have 30 kids in your class, but that's a lot of information to track. So this Excel spreadsheet really helps you be able to track it with a minimal amount of effort. So let's jump back to the setup and let's start. So let's start by coming up with a couple of names here. So my class, I'm going to have David, I'm going to have Sally, and Ashley. There we go. And then we just follow these blue arrows here and we fill in the data. Now we don't need to fill this all in one go. Later on in the year, if we want to obviously add more assessments as we go, or students come, we want to be able to add them onto the list as well. So we can do that as well. So let's come over here and we want a pre-assessment followed by we'll just jump straight into a final assessment. There we go. And obviously for term 1, term 2, there's 10 spots each for them there, so you can fill them in as you go. And then down here, class name, well, I'm going to go 6A and year 2017. Now if you are good with Excel, I have locked every page. However, there's no password set, so if you do want to play with anything, feel free to unlock it and play with it to your heart's content. It's your program. If you buy it, go for it. Now we're ready. Now you can see down the bottom here, we've only got S1, S2, S3 for the different students. And that's going to be really hard to keep a track of all your students. So when you're ready, you hit the big green button. And you can see it'll now populate it. David, Sally, Ashley, and because they're the only 3 we've put in, then that's what we've got. Now if you do need to reset it for any reason, you do have a big red reset button here. Now the one thing too, just to make sure of, is if you have 2 kids in the class called David, you can't have that, so you're going to need to have their initial or a 1 and a 2 next to them, something like that, just to actually split them up. Okay, so now we've got our 3 names there. We come into summary and straight away we can see we haven't done any tests yet. We've got our 10 different areas of maths split up here. We've got our year, our class, our overall marks here, and we've got our 3 students in our class here. So let's start entering in data and we'll see how it goes. So we'll start with David. And now we're in David's page. So we can see he's got his name at the top here, and he's got a, this is semester 1 and this is semester 2 broken up into the 2 terms. And what this does is, as you put in the marks, it will predict how David is tracking in each area. So let's start with number and place value. So he does a pre-assessment, and David got a, let's say he got a B. He's pretty good. We could use the drop down if we want. So let's go and give him a B there. And straight away it says that David is currently running at a B overall for number and place value. And he's currently, since he's only got 1 value in there, he's currently running at a B for the entire semester. So let's keep going. So fractions and decimals. Well, he didn't do as well with that. Let's give him a C. And money and finance, yeah, he's a C as well there. Patterns and algebra, oh, he did a terrible job. So let's drop him down to a D. And we can see straight away now, overall he dropped to a C. And let's keep going. Let's give him a C. And shape, he did a terrible job there, just to kind of split things up a bit. But location and transformation, he got an A. He got a C. Let's give him a couple of Ds. Let's give him an E there as well. And there we go. So there's his first pre-assessment there. Actually, if I jump back here and I move this, you can see I just want to do a fractions test. So I come back here, here's the fractions, come along to fractions, and he did a, oh actually no, let's say he did a terrible job, he got himself a D. There we go. Now, as we go along, and he's improving, so I can just type them in, I don't have to click on the drop down. So he's improving here, he's improved there, oh he's definitely improved, he's improved. And let's see if we can push that up. There we go. So that just pushed it up to a B there. Now what's actually happening here is the reason why sometimes this doesn't move when you think it might is because number and place value is weighted at 3 times the amount you can see here as the other columns. Fractions and decimals is weighted as 2 times, and patterns and algebra are weighted at 2 times as well, as probably the 3 core parts of maths. Everything else is weighted at 1. So now we've got his mark in, and we can see each column here, and we can see his overall. When we come back to summary, we can see for semester 1 how David is tracking for semester 1, and there's his overall mark for semester 1. So again, a nice, really easy way to capture all the data. We could then go through for Sally, Ashley, do the same. And this page here being all color coordinated, very, very easy to be able to see it all. If we quickly just put something in here, I know I haven't labeled it here, but what do you do? We've got a B there, so let's give him a D just to see a different color. And if I jump back here, we can see it automatically puts a D in there. So that's the Assistive Maths Mark Book. Like I said, I can see that for a lot of teachers, it's going to save a lot of time. It captures a huge amount of data. It collates it into an easy table here. And it also, these pages, nice and simple to be able to actually show parents, to be able to show other staff, to be able to keep track of a lot of data in a very easy way. Now, that's the first one. Second one, the General Mark Book, is exactly the same mark book, but only with a slight difference. First difference is your headings. Over here on this one, you can actually change your headings. So in Student 1, we see English, Science, Geography. If I come back to Setup and I change that to, I don't know, instead of English, let's go, French, and then come across, and we can see it's changed it there. So let's pop that back as English. So the other thing too with this one is because it's across multiple subjects, you don't have the overall prediction for the semester. So everything else works exactly the same. So if we've got a C for English, followed by a B, followed by an A, a D, a D, a D, let's force him down. Oh, we can't have English, let's give him an E, and an E. Oh, okay, so it's starting to come down a bit. It's probably on the borderline of dipping down, but you can see there that it's making the same prediction, but these ones aren't weighted at all either. Now, if you're not happy with the calculation on either one of these Excel spreadsheets, you can go and make your own. So the way it's actually set at the moment, I'll show you. It's set that if the mark is 50-50, it'll always scale it up. So if I get a C, a B, and a B, that should come out as a B because it's 50-50. But if I get 3 C's and a B, it'll drop down. Now you can actually change that if you want, if you're not happy with that. Under Setup, here is the calculations for working that out. So you can actually click on these, and if you change these numbers up or down, then they will actually change how much an A, a B, a C, a D, or an E is worth. So have a play with those, but those numbers there are set exactly on, if it's 50-50, it will scale it up. So now let's show you the last one here. I'll just close down that, and this is the All-Purpose Notebook. because sometimes you want to be able to capture data in different ways. So for those ones, it's only the A to E, but sometimes, for instance, with weekly spelling, you want to be able to capture a score, like 16 out of 20, things like that. And I know for me, I also want to be able to just record other data. So for instance, like notes, whether they've returned their swimming notes or excursion notes, or even just parental contact, all those different things. And so that's where this one comes in. This is a much more messier notebook, but with a very, very good purpose for those. So this is the all-purpose notebook. And in the same way, you just put your students in here. So let's put David, Sally, and Ashley. Oh, didn't have a... And class, I said I was 6A. And now straight away, we don't need to click on anything for this one, and it automatically populates the sheets. So here we go, okay, well, I've got a spelling mark book. Now there is nothing on this mark book apart from the calculations here. Everything else you are free to change. So for me, I've got it set up with the weeks and then an end of year. I could put a comment there or a total, whatever I like, but you can change it. I've got my notebook there, but then I go, well, wait a second, I want to make a new one for parent contact. So all I do is I right click on notebook, I go to move or copy, and I'm going to copy it and move it to the end. And then I'll just rename this one contact. Up here, contact, and contact 1. Or we could go positive or negative, however you want it. Contact 2, and so on. And now I'm free to be able to type in whatever I like here. So left message, contact 2, spoke to parent after school. And I'll just wrap that, and there we go. So like I said, that one there you can use however you want. So between those 3 mark books, I think I've managed to be able to capture all the data collection that you need for your classroom for a year in a nice, easy way. So hopefully you'll find that useful. If you do find it useful and purchase it, please come back and leave a comment on the Teachers Pay Teachers website, because we'd love to have some feedback to let other teachers know how you're using it and if you're enjoying it. Thank you.